The day I found out I was pregnant was the day Fong Sick-hen dumped me. He tossed me a bank card, saying, "There's 3 million in here, take it and leave." I caught it and curled my lip. That's it? I thought to myself, that's not even enough to raise the kid to 5 years old. He heard me and paused in reaching for his cigarette pack, then added, "I'll put another 2 million in the card in a couple of days." Seeing an opportunity, I took it and happily packed my things to leave. A month later, I was driving my BMW, passing by a high-end luxury mall. I actually ran into Fong Sick-hen wearing a delivery rider's uniform, delivering food. "Dude, what's up with you? Filming a reality show?" Not afraid of embarrassing him, I went straight up and asked. Fong Sick-hen scanned me up and down and sighed. "Actually, I went bankrupt a month ago. I couldn't afford to keep you, and I was afraid you'd look down on me, so I drove you away." I blinked, looking confused. "What about your white moonlight?" Fong Sick-hen said, "She came back to me, didn't look down on me, and is willing to live a hard life with me and help me make a comeback." Hearing this, I immediately put on my sunglasses. "I wish you eternal love and a happy marriage." With that, I dashed into my car and sped away, leaving Fong Sick-hen, wearing his delivery helmet, a mess in the wind. There are 3 things I fear most in my life. 1. No money. 2. No life. 3. Life but no money. On the road, I floored the car to 70 miles per hour. Fong Sick-hen, riding his little electric scooter, actually caught up. "What are you doing? You're not trying to get the money back, are you?" He followed me all the way, and I had no choice but to pull over, roll down the window, and question him. Don't get me wrong. Sweat was streaming down Fong Sick-hen's handsome face under his helmet, and his expression was a bit tentative. I just wanted to ask, do you have enough money? Only then did I retract my guarded gaze. Barely enough, I guess. During the 2 years I was with Fong Sick-hen, he had always been generous with me. In the past, 5 million was only half a year of my spending. Barely enough? Fong Sick-hen repeated, frowning as he asked, "Then will you go looking for other men?" I looked at the car roof and rolled my eyes. Fong Sick-hen, instead of worrying about your ex's love life, why don't you worry about whether your orders will be delivered late? With that, I rolled up the window and drove off. This time, Fong Sick-hen didn't chase after me. When I got home, my bestie Lulu sent me a message. OMG! The delivery rider who delivered my food today was Fong Sick-hen. Is that Fong Sick-hen who bought you an entire wall of Hermes? Is he slumming it? I replied, he went bankrupt, broke up with me last month, and is now delivering takeout to support his white moonlight. Lulu. How should I put it, he's truly a man of loyalty and affection. Lulu's father died early, her mother is paralyzed, and she doesn't have much education, so she makes a living by shaking bubble tea. I've been helping her out quite a bit these past 2 years. In the end, I transferred her another 50,000 yuan. But she returned it. No need, Lingling. I found a sales job, and starting next month, I'll be earning a monthly salary of over 10,000 yuan. I smiled and didn't bother with any more pleasantries. After all, from now on, I still have the one in my belly to raise. After that, I didn't see Fong Sick-hen again. Relying on the spare money I saved over the past 2 years, I bought a large apartment in a high-end residential area. I had a professional financial advisor manage the rest of the money. I usually stay at home and rarely order takeout. One day, after my prenatal checkup, I came out of the hospital. I actually saw Fong Sick-hen's white moonlight, Jian Yao, getting into the back seat of a Maybach. Driven by my gossipy nature, I followed her in my BMW. I watched as the car drove into a high-end villa complex. Wow. Did Fong Sick-hen get cheated on? Driven by an even stronger desire to gossip, I waited in the car until night, when I saw the Maybach drive out again. I followed again. This time, the car stopped in the city center, Jian Yao got out, and then took a taxi on the side of the road. I followed again and again. This time, I followed her to an old, run-down apartment building. Jian Yao got out of the taxi, entered the unit door, and went upstairs. I was sure that this was Fong Sik-hen and Jian Yao's new home. It was really far from his previous villa. The surrounding area was full of the musty, fishy smell of moss mixed with mold. I sighed. At midnight, a small electric scooter stopped at the unit door. Fong Sik-hen. I leaned against the car and called out to him. Su Ling? He looked at me in surprise and walked over. How did you know I lived here? I didn't answer, directly hinting at him, usually, you should still treat Jian Yao better. But he clearly didn't understand, and raised the plastic bag in his hand, saying, I treat Yao Yao really well. Every day when I deliver takeout, if there are any leftover meals, I always bring them back for her to eat. My gaze shifted to his hand, to the wontons that were all clumped together. Then back to him. I couldn't help but give him a "Are you crazy?" look. Never mind, I said anything. I chuckled and quickly left again. I suspect that Fong Sik-hen got possessed after becoming poor. I should stay away, lest my baby be affected by his abnormal behavior. But I didn't expect that even though I wasn't provoking them, Jian Yao would come to my door instead. She directly knocked on my door, demanding I return the money. Fong Sik-hen is living in poverty, but you seem to be doing quite well. She walked in without taking off her shoes, sat directly on the sofa, and looked around. Before he went bankrupt, didn't he give you 5 million? Do you know how much debt he's in now? If you have any conscience, return the money. Without saying a word, I called Fong Sik-hen and immediately said, Fong Sik-hen, did you ask Jian Yao to come and ask me for money? The person on the other end of the phone paused for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was deep. Yao Yao went to see you? I didn't know about this. Where are you living now? I'll come over and take her away immediately. When Fong Sik-hen arrived, he was still wearing his delivery rider's uniform. He even asked me for shoe covers to put on. I said it wasn't necessary, just quickly take her away. But he said, you're a clean freak, I should still put them on. Upon seeing this, Jian Yao sneered in anger. You don't need to come in, I'll go out myself. Jian Yao picked up her bag and, as she walked past him, accused him with great sadness, Fong Sik-hen, when you were at home, collapsing on the bed without taking off your shoes, throwing your socks everywhere, did you ever consider me the way you consider Su Ling? Having said that, she ran off in tears. I stood with my arms crossed, leaning against the doorway, and Fong Sik-hen and I stared at each other. After a long while, I helplessly advised, regardless, you should still pay attention to hygiene. Fong Sik-hen, however, retracted his gaze from outside the hallway and smiled at me with a complex look. But Su Ling, I've been too tired lately, I can't take care of these details. After hearing this, I sighed. That's what I thought, I'm afraid of being poor. Even someone like Fong Sik-hen, a refined and proper diamond bachelor, has a straight decline in hygiene habits after losing money. But why do I always feel that Fong Sik-hen's recent behavior is a bit strange? Maybe it's just my pregnancy making me overthink things. The next day, I transferred 200,000 to Fong Sik-hen's bank card. P.S. Don't let this happen again, the cost of being soft-hearted is too high. If I always feel sorry for others, who will feel sorry for me, a single mother? After the transfer, I looked at the balance in my bank card and finally felt relieved enough to take a nap. However, ever since Fong Sik-hen found out my home address, unordered takeaways started mysteriously appearing at my door. Sometimes, it was supermarket deliveries, vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, eggs, and milk. Sometimes, it was desserts and cakes. Sometimes, it was bubble tea and coffee. Sometimes, it was various elaborate meals, Japanese cuisine, grilled fish, hot pot, barbecue. Nothing was particularly expensive, but it was all food that I liked. If Fong Sik-hen didn't message me every time to say he ordered it, I would have thought someone was trying to poison me. I knew he was probably trying to thank me for the 200,000 I gave him. So, I accepted it all with a smile each time. While enjoying the food, I would touch my belly and mutter to myself, Baby, this is a treat from your dad, what? You don't think it's delicious? Don't be like that, your dad can only afford these things right now. Just bear with it, Mommy will take you to eat Michelin tomorrow. But when I was actually sitting in a Michelin restaurant eating the exquisite dishes prepared for me by the chef, I would always picture Fong Sik-hen sitting across from me, wearing a custom-tailored suit, presenting a velvet box like a treasure and gifting me a ruby necklace. I knew from the beginning of our relationship that Fong Sik-hen had an unforgettable white moonlight in his heart. The goddess he had liked since university, Jian Yao. But later, he didn't win over the goddess. Instead, he focused on his career. And he won me over with a ruby necklace. I thought I was just too afraid of being poor. Coming from a mountain village so remote that even navigation apps couldn't find it, to a big city, I almost got sold to a club as a prostitute. The job search process was full of setbacks, and I witnessed the complexities of human nature, encountering both good and bad people. So, when Fong Sik-hen opened the velvet box and said to me, "Ling Ling, stay by my side," I agreed without hesitation. When I saw Jian Yao's solo photo, carefully preserved in his desk drawer, I wasn't that sad. My features and Jian Yao's weren't very similar. We just had the same type. What did I lose anyway? I didn't lose too much, at least I still had money, bags, and countless beautiful clothes. A handsome and wealthy sugar daddy, so generous to me, what more could I ask for? So, when I found out that Fong Sichen's unattainable love was coming back to find him, I decisively accepted the 5 million and left. One shouldn't be too greedy. I had already obtained things that were hard to even dream of in my first 24 years. As for that thing called true love, leave it to others. I sniffled as I stuffed expensive foie gras into my mouth, and casually told the chef shaving black truffles, "Don't stop." As soon as I finished eating, my phone rang. "Hello! Your boyfriend, a young man named Fong Sik-hen, was hit by a car while delivering food. Please come to the hospital as soon as possible." When I rushed over, Fong Sik-hen was lying in the hospital bed, in good condition, and conscious. Seeing me, his eyebrows relaxed. "Su Ling, you're here." I looked him up and down, only to see a bandage on his ankle that wasn't even as wide as my palm. If I had come any later, it would have healed already, right? Fong Sik-hen scratched his head. "I'm sorry, Su Ling. I fainted at the time, and the medical staff unlocked my phone using facial recognition and took the liberty of calling you." I put my hands on my hips. "Why didn't you call Jian Yao? She's your current girlfriend, isn't she?" I was so angry. I had eaten too much just now, sped all the way here, and then ran upstairs, giving myself a stitch. "I'm a pregnant woman." Fong Sik-hen stopped smiling, a hint of bitterness appearing between his brows. He explained, "In my contacts, your note is still, baby." Hearing this, I took a deep breath and didn't say anything more. As I was leaving with my bag, I ran into Jian Yao, who had just arrived. She just sneered at me, didn't even mock me, and even took me to the hospital entrance. As I opened the car door, she stood on the steps, looking down at me and asked, "Su Ling, let me ask you, is Fong Sik-hen no good in that area?" My eyes widened. I subconsciously touched my lower abdomen. Could it be that after Fong Sik-hen became poor, not only did his hygiene habits deteriorate, but his abilities in bed also declined? That can't be right. I couldn't help but recall Fong Sichen's 8-pack abs, and the well-defined muscles on his arms and chest. And every time, the way he seemed refined on the surface, but was actually incredibly naughty, as if he had inexhaustible strength. I was filled with questions, but put on a "you finally understand me" expression. If he takes medicine, he can barely manage, maybe 3 minutes. I was lazy, my tone very world-weary. Jian Yao looked at me, speechless. I struck while the iron was hot, and moved closer to her. "So I really don't understand, what do you see in him? You like him because he's handsome? But he's useless. You like him because he's a potential stock? But he's so poor now that he can barely support himself." Sigh, I patted her on the shoulder. "I can only say, you didn't catch him at a good time. Heh. Jian Yao's expression changed, and she slapped my hand away with a smile. You really are vulgar. I pursed my lips, sized up her expression, and finally didn't know what to say, so I turned around and waved to her. You're elegant, I wish you success. I drove around a bit, then secretly drove back. As dusk approached, Jian Yao came out of the hospital, walked to the small road, and got into the Maybach again. This time, I personally witnessed the Maybach driving into the villa complex from last time. It didn't come out again until late at night. I'm now quite certain that Fang Xichen's head is a lush oasis. Driven by some emotion, I returned to the hospital and entered the ward again. This guy was fast asleep. I put my bag down, sat on the edge of the bed, and started feeling him up. As I touched him, I gradually felt his body temperature rising. And a certain area was very cooperatively standing at attention. I breathed a sigh of relief, but the questions in my mind only grew. Just as I was about to pull my hand back and stand up, a force suddenly grabbed my wrist. A deep, hoarse voice sounded from in front of me. Su Ling, look at the good thing you've done. I raised my head, meeting a pair of eyes that were equally unfathomable in the dim light. You turned me into this, and now you want to run? I froze on the spot, and before I could say anything, Fang Xichen grabbed me into his arms. He hugged me, and using the only leg he could move, forcefully flipped over, pinning me underneath him. I was so scared that I reached out to push him, one hand covering my stomach, and shouted, Fang Xichen, you pervert. You don't abide by male virtue. I was referring to the fact that he has a girlfriend and was still committing such a beastly act towards his ex. Who knew? He supported himself above me with one hand, and laughed in disbelief. I don't abide by male virtue? There's no man in this world who abides by male virtue more than I do. Then why don't you get off me? I held my elbow horizontally in front of his chest, adopting a defensive posture. But he didn't show any intention of moving away. Instead, he looked me up and down with those eyes that looked at even dogs with deep affection. Even more outrageous, he reached out and touched my face, then moved down and pinched my waist. I was terrified, but I heard him tisk above me with a frown. Has takeout been ordering too much for you lately? I think you've gained quite a bit of weight. My scalp tingled, and I blinked guiltily, covering my almost 3-month pregnant belly. I'm fat? I think you're just jealous that I'm doing well. I looked at Fang Xichen's thinner face, his originally angular features becoming even more defined. I hardened my heart, used a little force to push him away, and sat up. All right, now that I know there's nothing wrong with your body, I'm relieved. I thought I'd worn you out these past 2 years. Fang Xichen leaned back on the bed with his hands behind him, looking at me with a calm gaze. The gentle smile on the corner of his mouth gave me goosebumps all over my body. I was about to stand up when he leaned in and hugged me from behind. Will you ever stop? I protested, preparing to elbow him. I really didn't want to be caught in the act here. Fang Xichen gently blocked my move, diverting my force, his hand circled around my waist, his chin resting on my shoulder. He asked in a low voice, Ling Ling, how much money do you have left? How long will it last? Hearing this, I sneered. He must be wanting to ask me for money again. Fang Xichen, do you think 5 million is a lot of money? I gritted my teeth. I know it's not much, Fang Xichen said innocently, that's why I'm asking you, how long will it last? I rolled my eyes and deliberately said, 2 months, maybe. Damn it, I wanted to cry as soon as I said it. I have to use this money to raise a child well until they're 18. I still need to buy a house and a car for the kid, and invest in their education. I can't let the kid become like me, useless to society. And, I'm very likely to soften my heart towards the child's father, losing millions along the way. Then, Fang Xichen's hand tightened around my waist. Before the money runs out, don't go looking for anyone else, okay? His serious and pleading tone surprised me. Are you sick in the head? I couldn't help but turn around and glare at him. He was being way too controlling. Fong Sichen touched my face and said with a wry smile, "During this time, don't make yourself suffer, eat what you want, buy what you want, you hear?" Just kidding, am I the kind of person who would make myself suffer? Maybe his expression made him look a little pitiful. I sighed, patted the back of his hand, and joked, "Don't worry, I'm very good at living a life of luxury." Hearing this, Fong Sichen raised his eyebrows slightly and shook his head with a smile. I immediately got up, grabbed my bag, and fled. Fong Sichen stayed in the hospital for half a month. I really didn't understand. The bandage on his foot wasn't even as wide as a sanitary napkin. How could it be like a fracture, never getting better? Yet, like a fool, I couldn't help but worry and secretly went to see him. Almost every time, I would see Jian Yao in the ward with him. I leaned against the doorframe, watching Jian Yao feed him the bone broth she had personally made. Every time Fong Sichen took a bite, he would look up at her and smile. He even held her hand and said, "Yao Yao, I'm sorry for making you suffer with me. When I make a comeback, I will definitely repay you." From their conversation, I learned that Jian Yao had even asked her parents for money to subsidize their living expenses. Jian Yao's family background was also very ordinary. Her parents were retired ordinary employees. Jian Yao sighed and squeezed his hand back. "Don't say that, I'm not after your money. The white moonlight is indeed the white moonlight." Thinking of this, I actually felt a little understanding for Jian Yao's suspected cheating. Fong Sichen is useless, burdened with debt, dirt poor, only knows how to write blank checks, and doesn't even put an effort in bed. No wonder Jian Yao couldn't stand it and had to go out and find excitement. I shook my head and left the hospital. I decided not to meddle in other people's business anymore. They are both willing. Besides, now Fong Sichen only has Jian Yao by his side. What if he couldn't take the shock of knowing he was being cheated on and tried to commit suicide? During the following period, I happily focused on my pregnancy. Lulu has been very busy recently. She joined a new company and often shares the weird clients she encounters with me. Knowing that I stay at home all day, she occasionally asks me out on weekends and suggests that I make more friends. I licked my ice cream cone, looked at the sky, and said nothing. Recently, I've been feeling lazy, and I can't seem to get motivated. It feels like there's a hole in my heart. By the way, our company is having a dealer conference in a couple of days. It's a luxury meal standard at a 5-star hotel, and we can bring people. Do you want to come? Lulu tried to persuade me, also mentioning that the guests would receive a gift bag. Who knows, there might be gold or high-end skincare products inside. I finished my ice cream cone and nodded, okay. Isn't the purpose of life to have fun? I can't just stay at home all day, feeling listless. That day, I made a special effort to dress up, put on makeup, and wore a little black dress that I hadn't worn in a long time. My barely visible baby bump was hidden by the loose skirt, and no one could tell I was pregnant. I was sitting at a round table in the hotel banquet hall, feeling sleepy after the meal. But who knew that Lulu's boss, a handsome man in a suit who was 5'9", suddenly walked towards me. Seeing this, Lulu immediately stood up, "President Wei." The man, called President Wei, casually sat in Lulu's seat and said to me, "My name is Wei Zhao. I've been noticing you for a while. Would I have the honor of getting to know you?" I covered my full stomach and subconsciously sucked it in. Wei Zhao casually placed one hand on the table, revealing a silver watch cuff. Vacheron Constantine, a global limited edition. I swallowed and looked at Lulu. Standing beside Wei Zhao, after her initial shock, she winked at me, looking encouraging. I looked at the handsome Wei Zhao and smiled. "Okay, my name is Su Ling. It's a pleasure to meet you." Wei Zhao tapped the table with his slender fingers, his smile faint and polite. "Miss Su, are you free this afternoon? I'm holding a tea party at my private villa in the suburbs. If you're interested, would you do me the honor of joining me?" Seeing my hesitation, Wei Zhao looked up at Lulu. "Is Lu your friend? She can come too." Lulu immediately widened her eyes. "Can I go too?" As soon as she said that, Wei Zhao's assistant walked over with 2 handbags and handed them to me and Lulu. I opened it to find exquisite gift boxes, each containing 100 grams of gold bars. And a complete set of La Mer skincare products. A little greeting gift, Wei Zhao said softly beside me. Miss Su won't mind, will she? How could I? I immediately closed the gift box, picked it up, and stood up. Mr. Wei, you're too kind. Please remember to invite me to more events like this in the future. Wei Zhao's smile widened. Lulu and I followed him out of the hotel's magnificent doors. Just as the Maybach pulled up, a person suddenly walked over in the hotel plaza. Wearing a delivery rider's uniform and a helmet. And carrying a delivery bag in his hand. It looked like he was there to deliver food to the hotel. Su Ling? Fong Sichen frowned and called my name. He walked up to Wei Zhao and me, his sharp eyes scrutinizing me. What's your relationship with him? Fong Sichen was as tall as Wei Zhao, and almost as handsome. However, in his delivery uniform, standing in front of Wei Zhao in his tailored suit, he seemed less imposing. I coughed lightly, my eyes darting away. Just as I was about to say something, a hand reached around my waist, gently pulling me closer. It was Wei Zhao. My back stiffened slightly, and I heard Wei Zhao chuckle softly beside me. Fong Sichen, what is it? Do you know this young lady? This time, I was the surprised one. They know each other? Fong Sichen said nothing, his clear eyes looking at Wei Zhao. In the delicate atmosphere, certain speculations, combined with recent strange events, took root and sprouted in my heart. At this moment, Fong Sichen reached out and grabbed my wrist. Su Ling, don't go with him. What are you doing? I deliberately shook off his hand. You're bankrupt, so you won't let me be with another sugar daddy? Seemingly not expecting me to be so direct, Wei Zhao next to me was also stunned for a moment. I pressed my advantage. You have time for this? Go back and take care of the white moonlight who suffered with you. Hearing this, Fong Sichen's dimmed gaze lifted slightly, and there seemed to be a ripple in his eyes. He frowned fiercely and scat in annoyance. Forget it, I can't be bothered with you. With that, he walked past us and entered the hotel lobby with the delivery bag. Only then did I move closer to Wei Zhao. Let's go, Mr. Wei. Wei Zhao smiled slightly and gentlemanly opened the car door for me. Before getting into the car, I glanced at the license plate number out of the corner of my eye. Sure enough, this Maybach was the same car that had taken Jian Yao into the villa. Lulu and I spent the evening in Wei Zhao's private mountain villa, our hearts pounding with fear. During that time, I didn't dare show anything out of the ordinary. But in the end, when Wei Zhao sent a car to take us down the mountain, we still encountered a special situation. The Forestry Bureau wants to temporarily close the mountain. Unfortunately, Miss Su and your friend will have to stay at the villa for a few days. I nodded, pretending to be disappointed, to make him believe my words. All right, sorry for the trouble, Mr. Wei. I'm used to luxury. Please give me the highest standard suite. The bed can't be less than 3 meters wide, and it must have silk sheets and duvet covers. Also, I'm not used to simple food. For 3 meals a day, please have a chef certified by the World Association of Chefs prepare them for me. As for the ingredients, I don't usually care about them. They must be freshly flown in from abroad every day, whether it's for the main meal or fruits and vegetables. Entertainment activities are also essential. I like to watch soccer, horse racing, and swimming. I see you have a soccer field, racetrack, and swimming pool here, and you have enough professional staff. Have a performance match for me every day, okay? Lulu, behind me, was stunned. At this moment, she truly believed that I had been marinated in a life of extravagance. The more Wei Zhao heard, the more obvious the smile on his lips became. Of course. He nodded. Miss Su won't be wronged. After Wei Zhao left, I quickly sent a message to Fong Sichen. Then deleted it and turned off the screen. A few days later, my phone was indeed accidentally lost. When Wei Zhao found out, he had someone bring me a brand new iPhone 17. The following period was peaceful and comfortable, and Wei Zhao never appeared. The entire mountain was closely guarded by uniformed personnel and vehicles. I was calm and collected, either wandering around aimlessly or eating, drinking, and having fun every day. In just half a month, I gained 5 pounds. But Lulu seemed unable to stay any longer. This evening, she specifically came to find me. Ling Ling, she said timidly, sitting next to me, not daring to look me in the eye, I want to confess something to you. Hearing this, I took off the gold foil mask I had on my face and sighed. Go ahead. Lulu pursed her lips. Actually, President Wei bribed me. That's why I brought you to the dealer conference, and then he was able to trick you into coming up the mountain. I narrowed my eyes as I listened. Lulu lowered her head even further. Do you know why he wanted you to do that? I asked, crossing my arms and leaning against the headboard. I thought he wanted to keep you. After saying that, she lowered her head again. I was thinking that Fong Sichen had gone bankrupt, and I was worried that you wouldn't have a good life, so I agreed to him. I was stunned. Look at what a good girlfriend she is. Sigh. I said with exasperation, now, do you finally see that his intentions weren't pure? Yeah. She scratched her head, he's kept you here for so long, but never once entered your room. I felt something was off, so I confessed to you. Perhaps seeing my unfathomable expression, she boldly sat closer, asking curiously, Ling Ling, did you see something coming all along? I sighed from my chest. I was just guessing. If we wait a few more days, we'll probably know if my guess is right. As it turns out, my guess was correct. A week later, I had just finished breakfast and was about to go back to my king-size bed for a nap. A considerable commotion arose from the hillside below the terrace outside the window. There were voices, and the faint sound of an alarm. Just as my heart tightened, the door to the suite was violently kicked open. I was so scared that I hid in the corner of the terrace. Where is she? General Wei said she's usually taking a nap at this time and wouldn't go out. Search carefully. If we don't have her in our hands, the Fong family won't go easy on us. The Fong family? Who knew? Fong Sichen, a first-generation entrepreneur, had a family backing him. Sure enough, I became a hostage. However, on the day I had this suspicion, Fong Sichen understood my subtle hint in front of Wei Zhao. He only showed a fraction of his concern for me, then immediately walked away. This made Wei Zhao slightly less vigilant, trapping me on the mountain, attempting to probe for a while longer. This probably bought Fong Sichen time to develop in secret. Although I don't know what he's secretly developing. I am now certain that after proposing a breakup, he was indeed testing Jian Yao. Whether he was acting stingy, unhygienic, or even pretending to be inadequate in that area, Jian Yao remained loyal to him. In addition, Jian Yao repeatedly got into Wei Zhao's Maybach. She was probably a spy arranged by Wei Zhao, attempting to obtain something from him. All the doubts formed a closed loop at this moment. I took a deep breath. The people inside were still rummaging through the room looking for me. I looked down. The terrace was about 1.5 stories above the ground. There was also a hedge below. If I was agile, moving slowly along the eaves, I should be fine, right? I clutched my slightly protruding belly, making a certain decision. Only the strong are worthy of being my child. I stood up, just about to climb down, when the sound of fists and flesh colliding came from inside the room. Immediately afterwards, the terrace door was pulled open. My heart was pounding, and I didn't dare look back. I lifted my leg and stepped over the railing. A pair of strong arms grabbed me from behind, pulling me back from the railing, accompanied by a shout. Ling Ling! I gasped, feeling like I'd been granted amnesty, and tears welled up in my eyes. Fong Sichen turned me around, gripped my shoulders, and looked me up and down with a worried expression. You're too reckless. You dared to jump. He wasn't wearing his jockey uniform this time. Instead, he was wearing a black shirt, his hair was neatly styled and combed to the side, revealing his handsome eyebrows and eyes. At this moment, those eyebrows and eyes were looking at me intently. Wah! I burst into tears, threw my arms around his neck, and buried myself in his arms. Fong Sick-hen, I don't want to be caught by them. Silly Lingling. He stroked my hair, chuckled at me, and swept me up in his arms, carrying me inside. Reaching the door, he bounced me slightly. You glutton, what have you been eating lately? You've gained weight again. I pouted and snuggled in his arms. Just eating simple things, nothing as good as the takeout you used to order. Fong Sick-hen raised an eyebrow. Simple things? You're about to bankrupt them. Knowing he was exaggerating, I didn't argue with him and nestled against his neck, whispering, Fong Sick-hen, I'm pregnant. The man stopped in his tracks, stunned for a few seconds, then looked at me with a mixture of surprise and joy, asking excitedly, Lingling? When did you find out? My finger traced circles on his exposed collarbone. The reason I left so decisively was because I needed to use your money to raise our child. I don't want the baby to be like me, a social misfit. I want to train it to be a social elite, which requires a lot of money. You won't blame me, right? I smiled, my eyes crinkling. Fong Sick-hen touched his forehead to mine, his tone serious. Su Ling, do you know how dangerous that was? You should have told me then. How could I tell you? You were the one who insisted on kicking me out. I glared at him and leaned against his shoulder. Fong Sick-hen tightened his arms, took a deep breath, and pulled me even closer. I'm sorry, Lingling, there were reasons, I'll explain it to you. No need to explain, I understand. Being as smart as I am, I had already figured out the whole story. Fong Sick-hen chuckled and carried me downstairs, asking as he walked. Then tell me, why did I do that? I looked up at his sharply defined jawline. Wei Zhao, is he your business rival? Fong Sick-hen raised his eyebrows in slight surprise. Not bad, continue. Did you go bankrupt because of his malicious competition? I said, pushing his face away, don't look at me with that adoring gaze. You have a hidden identity, you're the young master of the Fong family. Wei Zhao arranged for Jian Yao to approach you for a reason, didn't he? Fong Sichen's eyes curved, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. He looked at me approvingly. Truly my Lingling. I proudly raised my chin. After following you for 2 years, I've learned a lot by osmosis. Fong Sick-hen was in a good mood, hugging me as he walked out of the villa hotel entrance, coming to the fountain. A group of uniformly dressed people were already surrounding the car. Young master, one of them, with a steady demeanor, stepped forward. Wei Zhao has fled, and Jian Yao has been detained by the public security. Fong Sick-hen nodded. The rest, cooperate with the public security to handle it. All the evidence I have has been handed over to the lawyer. At the car, the bodyguard opened the car door. Fong Sick-hen put me in carefully and then sat down. He leaned in, hooking the back of my neck, forehead to forehead. Su Ling, you're not some scrap of society. As he spoke, he took my hand. You're very smart, but you just didn't have the capital to rely on, forcing you to use all your strength just to survive. In the future, I won't let you suffer anymore. The kiss, with its heat and wetness, flowed between our fingers. I will be your support, forever. In less than a month, Wei Zhao was formally arrested on suspicion of unfair competition and infringement of trade secrets. And Jian Yao, as an accomplice who was instructed, was given probation because of her good cooperation and active provision of evidence. Seeing the news, I calculated the days. It really hadn't been more than 2 months since the last time I went to the hospital to take liberties with Fong Sick-hen. Wife, you don't know how scared I was back then. At night, Fong Sick-hen hugged me, his voice muffled. I was really afraid that after 2 months, the money would be gone, and you would be abducted by someone else. I was half asleep, answering vaguely, I'm not that kind of person. He hugged me tighter, breathing against my neck. Seeing you standing with Wei Zhao, my heart almost stopped. If you hadn't deliberately said harsh words to remind me, I might have broken down on the spot, even if it meant revealing my identity in public. I would have snatched you away. I laughed as I heard this, instantly waking up. The Fong group heir, who is strategic and refined during the day, is a clingy, gooey person at night. When my belly was 5 months along, Fong Sikhen and I held a grand wedding of the century. The moment the veil was lifted, he picked me up and kissed me reverently. Everyone said that I must have saved the galaxy in my previous life. But Fong Sikhen said that he was the one who saved the galaxy. I think love is never a luxury. It is easier to obtain than money, but more precious than money. Those who are willing to give will surely receive the most precious gift bestowed by the universe.